Welcome back to the channel, PloopAChoopTV, and if you are new to the channel, welcome to Break the Backlog, the show where I sit down and provide my thoughts, opinions, and personal stories about a particular game that I've been playing recently. Today we're going to be talking about the first game that I have finished on the Nintendo Switch ever since buying the console back in 2019. That is a depressing thing to admit. Kirby and the Forgotten Land. This is the first Kirby game I've ever beaten, though it is not the first Kirby game that I have ever played. I loved Nightmare in Dreamland on the Game Boy Advance back in the day, and I've always had a special place in my heart for Kirby Air Ride on the GameCube. I also played a big chunk of Kirby's Epic Yarn on the Wii. So yeah, I know the pink little gumball pretty well, I just haven't ever finished a journey with him until recently on my stream. I chose this game after talking with Nadia about a way to celebrate my son's life this year, as it was a game that we played together while she was pregnant and we were both looking forward to. Unfortunately, we didn't end up finishing it back then because life was really stressful and busy at the time, and this, like many other Switch games that we own, just ended up getting pushed to the side. This was until a few months back when Nadia suggested that I restart and finish the game, and I decided that that was a really good idea to honor my son's memory with a game that we were both excited about during her pregnancy. With all that said, grab yourself a little snack, relax, and enjoy as we break the backlog on Kirby and the Forgotten Lands. I wasn't really sure what to expect as far as the story goes from a Kirby game because, you know, the one true gamer habit that you all have come to love on this channel, my lack of being able to finish video games in my entire life until recently. I had never seen an adventure with Kirby all the way through or really remembered the plot of any of these games, so yeah, this was kind of like a first experience in a way with the actually being cognitive of the narrative of a Kirby game. Kirby and the Forgotten Land marks the 13th mainline installment of the long-running franchise about a pink ball of cute doing whatever it is that Kirbys do. Our story starts with our pink little hero of lore enjoying life on his home, planet Popstar, when a freak storm unleashes its destruction upon the planet and sucks everything up. Guess Kirby got a taste of his own medicine for once. Kirby then wakes up on the shores of an unknown land, and after a quick frolic through the woods, we see the buildings that once stood tall over the city that had now been reclaimed by the nature it was built upon. Kinda like somebody forgot these lands, but I don't know, I'm just spitballing here. Subscribe. Upon further investigation, Kirby finds that the Waddle Dees from his home planet are being taken prisoner by the anthropomorphic leaders of this land, known as the Beast Pack. Kirby sets out as heroes do and starts saving these little waddled men from their captors until he meets up with this little Sonic the Hedgehog OC kind of thing, Elephant. Together, the two set out and continue liberating the Waddle Dees, who in return rebuild a town that they can use as a base of operations to help Kirby in his fight to liberate their brothers. This narrative here is by no means HBO groundbreaking drama level stuff, but it really doesn't need to be, and Kirby and the Forgotten Land does a really interesting thing in taking a rather eerie dystopian world whose inhabitants seem to be long gone and manages to still infect the journey with Kirby's cheerfulness and bravery in the sense that makes the whole thing magical. Kirby is like a spark of light that is sent crackling through these mysterious lands and illuminates everything he touches with his happy demeanor, and the courage that he faces down every challenge with is just admirable. His morale is never shaken, his determination always apparent. Kirby is a little guy that I think all of us would aspire to be a bit more like, minus the sucking everything within our sights, and even then, you know, no judgment on my part, dude, live your life. How a game about a little pink poop manages to be both adorable and epic at the same time, especially in the final boss fight, is beyond me, but the team has really managed to make an interesting adventure tale here for our plump pink pal. I'm not the most well-read on video game graphics or sound, and I know a lot of times this kind of just boils down to me being like, game look good, sound good. But like, you know, I'll still give my little take here. Kirby's looking great in his 3D debut here, and the art style is just as well crafted as the narrative. I found that the Forgotten Lands gave such a mysterious vibe, and as I said before, when placed in juxtaposition against Kirby and his adorable little team of Waddle Dees and friends, the team really managed to make a world that's steeped in mystery and destruction somehow also cute and wholesome. Now, this isn't to say that there was no issues. There was definitely some frame drops here and there, and that sort of weird Pokemon Violet shit where characters at a certain draw distance are moving at like 5 frames a second. But overall, the game is really pretty and manages to capture the adorableness of Kirby as he travels through this mysterious land. I also found the soundtrack here to be a perfect companion piece to the art style with songs that follow that sort of whimsical, cute, adorable, epic nature. They just managed to have a song for every moment. I feel like seeing this game would make a new Kirby player think that all of the games must have been made in this 3D art style, as the developers have shown a really masterful hand at this transition to 3D, and it's almost flawless. I don't have a ton to say about this other than the game is obviously being made with a lot of love and care, and that really came through in the art style and sound design. Now, to the most important part of any review, at least for me, how does Kirby and the Forgotten Land play? For people who aren't familiar with the pink little dude, Kirby is a creature that can steal powers from the things that he eats. This allows him to get abilities like the sword or fire to use to take down his enemies. Now combine that with some platforming and boss fight gauntlet flavor, and that is mostly what a mainline Kirby game has in its formula. With Forgotten Lands being the first true 3D mainline Kirby game, I wasn't sure if the formula was going to be tweaked or a gimmick was going to be applied like how they did with Kirby's Epic Yarn, and while they did choose to remain faithful to the aforementioned formula, the additions here were truly great. In the Forgotten Land, Kirby tracks down and liberates the Waddle Dees, which act as kind of a collectible that the game is centered around, think like the stars in Super Mario 64. So most levels consist of us running around as little Kirbit, platforming, beating up bad guys, finding secrets, and saving those plump little Dees. I guess I'll start with the gimmick of Kirby and the Forgotten Land, which is the mouthful abilities, where Kirby sucks up some massive object. Jesus. It's like what I'm describing as an innocent kid's game, but it feels like it needs to be age restricted. Let's just try to be mature about this, guys. We don't need to say we just got to get through this. Let's just get through this, okay? He sucks up some pretty big stuff like cars and fans, and then uses that newfound ability to open up the level, save hidden Waddle Dees, or solve puzzles. There, we got through it, okay? We're all mature. We're all adults, maybe. Some of us are adults that probably act like kids still, but it's okay. We got through it. This ability was pretty neat and did lead to some discoveries along the way, but it was another addition to the baseline formula that really had me coming back for more even after the credits rolled. This feature was the level up system for all of the powers in the game, which is addicting and made me care about doing all the little extra star levels or fighting at the Coliseum. Now, I don't know if this was in some of the other recent Kirby games, as like I said before, I haven't really played the series in a long time, but I can tell you that in this game, it was a great inclusion, and some of these powers are truly awesome. My favorite ended up being the Dragon Fire ability, which was a game changer for boss fights with its massive damage over time, and it really just built upon that base Fire Breath so well of how it looked and felt, and it's just really cool. These upgrades are obtained through earning stars, which the player can do through various means like playing these little puzzle levels that are centered around using certain abilities, fighting in the Coliseum tournaments, or just finding them in the world. I am usually not the biggest collectathon platinum trophy hunter kind of gamer, but for this game I am very close to the 100% mark because it's just a really good time. I love the designs of both of the levels and the bosses, and I felt like the progression of finding new and improved powers made boss fights increasingly fun. There's a lot to love here, and while no, this game isn't the most difficult game in the world, I feel like that kind of added to the charm. Not every game needs to be the most grueling or time-consuming to learn experience to play, and because I do play games like that, like Football Manager, which are intricate and have a lot of systems to understand, sometimes these gentle and easy jogs through an adorable world are just really refreshing for me. The gameplay here is another high point, with Kirby's adventure into the Forgotten Lands being equal parts cute, epic, memorable, and most of all, a ton of fun. This is a perfect example of building upon a strong foundation that I love to see in games. They took what makes a Kirby game recognizable and enhanced that experience by thoughtfully including features and mechanics that only boosted my enjoyment of this title, and it still managed to remind me of the old Kirby games I'd played before. I had a blast playing through all of the unique worlds and unraveling the plot found within this Kirby title, and finishing the main story of the Forgotten Lands has me wanting to revisit Kirby titles that I may not have beaten as a kid, as well as whatever the pink sentient vacuum cleaner has on the horizon. Kirby and the Forgotten Land has captured the sense of wonder, charm, and familiarity that so many gamers have felt for this series and its titular pink little guy, and utilized creative and thoughtful additions to elevate that experience to a wonderful debut title into the land of the third dimension. I loved this game and everything about it, and I think that is really displayed in the length of my streams while I was playing this game. I don't usually sit for 4 to 5 hours playing something on stream, but the fact that I finished this game in only 2 streams, I think really just speaks to the quality of this title. From the cute and wondrous story filled with epic boss fights, memorable moments, adorable things, and just a lot of suction, to the well-polished gameplay experience that took a tried-and-true formula and made additions to that formula that managed to create a new layer while keeping the game intact, Kirby and the Forgotten Lands is a beautiful game that I am glad that I experienced with my community and in honor of my son. Thank you for watching, and if you enjoyed this video, please subscribe and leave a like, as that always helps out the channel. Have you played Kirby and the Forgotten Land? Let me know what your thoughts were about playing through this title. Leave a comment below, and until next time, stay safe. Peace.